Let's get into a couple players here. I guess we could start off quickly with Nylander, who's now missed 5 games in a row. So before he went on the COVID protocol list, he had 4 points in 2 games, and then goes on the protocol list. And you could see visibly, like, offensively, this team is different. When William Nylander's not out there on that second line, providing that secondary scoring punch. And, you know, I say that it's secondary scoring punch, but William Nylander's a damn good player. Like, he could be like a top 2 offensive player on a lot of teams in the league. So
they always show those numbers, like the geeks dig up those numbers of Nylander's, where it'll say like whatever amount of games played he has. Like, say it's like, okay, he's at 350 games played, how many 5-on-5 goals or 5-on-5 points he has. And they'll pull out like a list of like wingers or just comparables. And he's always near the top, man. It's like we totally take him for granted. Like, I remember there was one span and people will flip out. Like, at his games played, he had better numbers than McKinnon.
Wow. You know what? You're right. Like, to start their careers, because
people don't remember, like, way ahead of him.
McKinnon didn't like get off to a crazy start where he came into the league and he was putting up points like Crosby. Yeah. Like, it was a slow progression for McKinnon to get to what he is now.
Yeah, and everyone looks at that.
Was putting up essentially the same points per game as him over the first like 3 seasons or whatever it was.
Everyone looks at McKinnon's contract and they're like, oh my God, what a steal. But they forget that, like, no, based on his performance at that time, like, that was maybe an overpay. Like, they were paying on future. Like, he wasn't going to get 10, 11 million like he would now. But yeah, I heard him in an interview on Spin Chicklets. We're getting kind of off topic now. But he talked about his struggles early on. It really affected him mentally. Like, he essentially said, like, he was suffering from depression because he couldn't get out of this rut. He wasn't scoring. People were talking negatively about him. And you do put it in perspective, like, a player like that, who probably since they were 6 years old was the best player in whatever league he was playing in up until junior. And now you're picked first overall. There's the Crosby talk because you're from the East Coast and this and that and the other connections. And you don't have the greatest start. And for the first time in his life, people were dumping on him. He says the guy didn't handle it well. And I mean, long-term, the Colorado Avalanche benefited from it because he signed a very reasonable contract and then his numbers just took off. He got his head right and we're happy for him that he was able to do that. But Nylander's numbers are definitely comparable to him and other stars around the NHL.
Yeah, no, that's why it's like when he's not out there, you know, sometimes you forget it. It's like you said, you take him for granted because we all know that Matthews and Marner have been carrying the team offensively this year. But man, oh man, when you don't have William Nylander, one of your top 4 offensive players out there for a 5-game stretch, like, sure, for 1 or 2 games, okay, we can get by with him. But now when you're seeing, you know, it roll into 5 games and maybe even 6 games, like, you're like, okay, like, this offense really needs the skill of William Nylander.